Good afternoon, everybody. It is a lovely Monday afternoon, so it's great to join you here. We have started this afternoon on the Olifants River in South Africa with a pod of hippos outside of the water. There's been a little bit of activity with this pod of hippos. The female's been quite protective over her little one, chasing away any wandering males that seem to be coming close by. So yeah, what a great way to start this afternoon here live at the waterhole. My name is Kerry Dupree and I will be your naturalist presenter for the afternoon. On our team here in Johannesburg, we have Nadine, who is our MC of the day. And yeah, just a reminder, folks, that this is a live and interactive experience, so please feel free. Ooh, have a look at the crocodile. The hippo just touched the crocodile. I don't think he quite knew what that was. How crazy. There's a crocodile lying on the bank here, and a little hippo touched the crocodile. How cool. So yeah, just a reminder, this is a live and interactive experience. You can use the QR code on screen now to send through those questions and comments. Let me know how your weekend was or any of your locations we would like to check out today. So you can head across to the app, send through those questions and comments. If you are using X, don't forget to use the hashtag. You can also use the WhatsApp. There's a WhatsApp number which will be on screen that is also available to send through those comments and questions and join in the chitter-chatter of the day. So yeah, we haven't been to this location for quite some time, so very nice to see some hippos out of the water today. Winter sure has arrived at some of our locations. I know in Johannesburg it is quite nippy, quite chilly. Temperatures the last couple of days haven't been over 23, 24 degrees, so it is lovely to have some sunshine, but it is perfect weather for hippos to be out and about, just roaming around on the banks of the rivers. It's not too hot, temperatures are favorable, so they don't have to worry about burning their sun. So yeah, long winter days are perfect times for hippos to come and graze on the edge of the banks here. And yeah, what a treat to have a little baby hippo also out of the water. So it's quite a big pod of hippos we have here. There's a couple hippo in the water, 3-4 hippos in the water, and then about 4 or 5 hippo on the edge of the bank. So what a lovely sighting we have here. And of course, a little baby hippo trying to give a crocodile a kiss. I didn't think the crocodile appreciated that very much, because he very quickly got a fright and jumped up into the water. We have some comments coming through. We have Ginlin has sent through a comment. What a lovely day it is, definitely, Ginlin, to spend our day on the Olifants River with a family of hippos. And looks like we've got some oxpeckers also on the back of that one hippo there. We also have Ari joining us this afternoon, and thank you for joining us, Ari, all the way from very cold Netherlands. We do feel your pain here, Ari. It has been a chilly weekend in Johannesburg, definitely firing up those heaters, hot water bottles out, and very thick fluffy socks. And of course, copious amounts of tea and coffee to get you through your day. Check out this little guy, isn't he just adorable? More comments coming through from Hendrik. Thank you for joining us, Hendrik. What a lovely afternoon it is. Deb Davis is also joining today, so thank you for joining us, Deb, all the way from Pennsylvania in the US. It is lovely to have you with us here, Deb. We also have Josh Drone, who's joining us. What a treat to be with us today, and I'm very privileged to be here with all of you. Another viewer commenting from Rocks. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you're watching from, Rocks. Thank you for joining us. It is definitely a lovely sighting of this little baby hippo. He's looking quite plump and in very good condition. A little bristly, stubby tail of his. Not the most attractive little creature, but yeah, a mother can love any little face. Fuzzy Dunlop is also joining us. Yes, Fuzzy Dunlop, it is a hippo pool party this afternoon, which is quite unusual to see. And Sandy Franklin, thank you for all of your comments, folks. Lovely to have so many viewers joining us this Monday afternoon, watching these hippos having a nice sunny pool party this afternoon. It's a shame you can hear those oxpeckers on the backs of these hippos here. They can be a little bit of a nuisance. Have a listen. Let's have a listen to the sound of the water and the sound of those oxpeckers grooming these hippos. These oxpeckers can be a nuisance for these poor hippos. Shame sometimes these hippos can get quite nasty injuries from fighting, especially the big bulls. And yes, the oxpeckers can be good little anti-parasitic agents by removing any maybe rotten flesh, keeping the wound open and clean, but also they can be a bit of a nuisance and a bit parasitic when they keep the wounds open for too long. So yeah, these big hippo bulls, you can see they've got this very exposed skin. They do get injuries from one another, from tusks, from fighting. So yeah, those oxpeckers can be a little bit of a hindrance. But yeah, really great to be able to see this tiny baby hippos. So during the summer months, it's quite rare to see hippos out of the water. But yeah, as I mentioned, we're going into our fall or our dry season. Winter is approaching, so because of these nice cool afternoons, it allows the hippos to be out and about. Oop. Just got a little bit of a fright from this male hippo, maybe having a bit of a territorial yawn. Got another question from Helga from the Midlands and KwaZulu-Natal. Helga's commenting on how lovely the Olifants River is flowing at the moment. So yes, lots of rainfall has definitely brought these waterways and water systems a lot of water, a lot of rain. So really grateful to see so much rain and so much water flowing down this beautiful stream. So yeah. So baby hippos are normally called calves. They're usually born underwater, and they must be able to swim within the first couple of minutes of being born in order for them to surface and breathe, so to take their first breath. So the mothers often give birth in shallower waters or shallower rivery areas near the shore or near banks, so that it gives their little one a bit of a chance to catch their first breath. And at birth, these little baby hippos are generally about 25 to 50 kilograms, or in pounds about 55 to 100 pounds. Yeah, gestation period for a hippo is about 8 months, so hippos do have quite a short gestation period for such a large mammal. Most larger mammals of their size, for example black rhino and white rhinos, their gestation periods are about 15 to 16 months. So yeah, very short gestation period for such a large land creature. Wildlife Lady, thank you for your comment. Yes, I'm also looking forward to seeing what else is out there today. I'm sure later on we will check in with our cheetah Tammy and see how her 4 little cubs are doing. I think they had a pretty good weekend. I did check in on them a couple of times, and they looked like they were suckling happily, and she was grooming them and taking very good care of her little babies. We will hopefully also check in with Stony Point later. I'm dying to see those little penguin chicks for the first time. It's been quite difficult to get a sighting of them. They've been very well hidden in the rocks, and of course we will also catch up with some of our other locations and see what has been happening at our Africam locations. This little hippo is a little bit cautious of the strong current. You do have to be very careful not to be washed away in the current.
My heart is pounding at the moment.
We are here in one of the best places in the world to see tigers.
If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. Become a member. You can gain access to the channel ad-free, you can rewind and re-watch sightings, and you can join our Tuesday live safaris. There's also behind the scenes videos, fireside chats, and every Safari Live episode, whenever you want it. It's just a better way to stay connected to nature.
That's when Mommy surely does come to the rescue. So she does need to keep a very close, watchful eye on these little ones so they don't get themselves into too much trouble. It's trying very hard to keep up with the current there. Here the hardy-dar ibis is calling in the background. Alright, so I've just got an update from Nadine. She said they've just seen a chick in Stony Point, a little penguin chick, so why don't we rush over there and see if we can also get a quick glimpse of a little penguin at Stony Point. Alrighty folks, so I have been desperate to see one of these little chicks here at Stony Point. Right, so we'll just wait for this little chick to move a little bit here, or this female or male. So the male and female penguin do take turns, and they do alternate the parental responsibilities of sitting on the nest and guarding the chicks. So we'll wait for it to move. Hopefully it moves a bit, and maybe one of the little chicks will pop out. So these chicks did hatch, must be over a week ago now, maybe close to 10 days. It's been a little bit difficult to get a visual or to get a view on them though, because they've been very well hidden underneath the parents and the rocks here. But you can see, I think there was a bit of remnants of the shell. So these penguins' shells are very hard, very thick shells, and that's in order to protect them from the very cold weather in Cape Town. If you've ever traveled to Cape Town, or any of our Cape Townians that might be watching, I'm sure you know of the cold weather I'm talking about. I went to Cape Town in September once and it was freezing. So yeah, this thick egg shell of the penguin eggs is to protect them from the cold and also any other environmental conditions. It's quite an unusual shape, the egg as well, so it helps it not to be able to roll off of the out of the nest. So if it does roll, it will kind of roll around in a circle and not roll out of the nest. So yeah, hopefully this adults will allow us to see a little baby penguin chick today. Come on. So the incubation period for these penguins is normally about 30 to 60 days, depending on the species. And of course they do, male and female, not only just sit on the nest but also help to feed the chicks together. So when one parent, oh, what's happening? Is there something in there? Seeing a little bit, oh, have a look here folks, have a look on the left hand side. I'm seeing a little bit of dark movement. Oh, there's a little beak. How cute. Just saw, I think it moved around from the back of the penguin, the adults. Hopefully moved and repositioned itself. We've been patiently waiting. I'm sure quite a few of our viewers have already seen these little chicks. I've been quite unlucky so far, but yeah, maybe patience will pay off and we'll get another little visual. But I think this little black fluff ball underneath the parent is probably this little baby chick of the African penguin. So we'll just have a little bit of patience, folks. It's definitely there. I did see some movement and a fluffy head, and I also saw a little bill. Oh, have a look, with a little beak poking out. Dark mane lover, yes, I am also very excited to see this little penguin chick. They've been quite shy, not showing themselves too much. So obviously the African penguin, or formerly known as the jackass penguin, our quite endangered species, so there's only about 20,000 breeding pairs left in the wild. And yeah, it's quite awesome that they do protect these penguins here at Stony Beach. So not only is the coastal region protected for the penguins, so a protected area, but also the ocean. So yeah, it used to only be protected seasonally during the breeding season, but I think they are kind of increasing the protection laws on this area for the penguins so that the fish are still abundant. There's still more than enough fish for these guys, because they do feed year round. So yeah, it's really important to protect these very special and endangered species. Well, talking about endangered species, I actually saw my first photo today of a brown hyena and its little fluffy cub. Yeah, I must say it definitely brought a huge smile to my heart. Even right now, I was just like, oh my goodness. If you've never seen a brown hyena pup, definitely would recommend going and giving that a Google. They are literally just these tiny little brown balls of fluff. You can barely even see their head. Oh, have a look here. But there's some movement. Come on, guys, show yourselves. So lovely to listen to the sounds of the ocean. Oh. So we have some questions coming through here about our very furry penguin friends. So Sandy Franklin is asking how many types of penguins are there. So Sandy Franklin, there's only one species of penguin that is native to Africa, which is the penguin we're looking at now, the African penguin. So we're just being patient, folks, hoping to get a there we go, glimpse of a little head. Every now and then you get a little glimpse of a fluffy little head or a beak. So yeah, only one species of penguin in Africa, and it's quite a unique species and very important species with strong conservation significance. So especially within this region of Cape Town, these penguins are very important for the ecosystem, and yeah, obviously are very much impacted by habitat loss and also food loss as well. So penguins do form very strong parental bonds. So they will mate for life, but if they do lose their partner after a few years, they might find a new partner. So most of the diet of these penguins is sardines. They do feed on a lot of small fish, and they can hold their breath for quite some time underwater, between 2 to 3 minutes while hunting. And they're very efficient little hunters with those adapted little wings of theirs, especially adapted wings that have now adapted into little flippers to help them be such accurate and efficient swimmers. Oh, they do normally nest in little burrows like this, little cracks and crevices sides of the rock. Come on, little penguin, come out for us. Must be getting quite big, these little penguin chicks. It's a bit uncomfortable for them in there. So they generally lay anything between 2 to 3 eggs, but on average one chick might survive. So the second egg or the third egg is normally just an insurance policy, just like big raptors, big birds of prey. They'll only lay a few eggs and hoping that one chick will actually survive. So we have a question here from Dark Main Lover, is asking about what causes chick eggs not to be viable. So there's several reasons why eggs of birds might not be viable, and that might be that they possibly haven't developed or hatched properly. In some cases these eggs could be infertile. This does happen in cases where you have birds maybe inbreeding if the population is too small. Embryo death can also be caused due to either early hatching or late hatching. Sometimes climate and temperature is so important. That's what's crazy about these birds. When nesting, they know exactly the right temperature that their eggs need to be at. They'll often turn the eggs from time to time, very gently without cracking the eggs, to make sure that the eggs are not lying on one side for too long. Eggshell problems can also be quite an issue, for example, in vultures. So vultures, because they are so susceptible to lead poisoning, one of the negative side effects of lead poisoning, which comes through the food that they consume, is that the vulture's eggs become very soft and very brittle, and that can actually lead to the adult or the parent, the female nesting, can end up breaking the eggs before they even hatch. So these are a few issues that can be caused. So nutritional problems can also lead to very soft eggs in some bird species, and that can also compromise the egg and the yolk in development stages. Whoop.
Join Wild Earth Travel on a unique nature adventure in the Greater Kruger Park. Legendary master tracker Renius Mhlongo leads a 4-day animal tracking experience in the Sabi Sand Nature Reserve. This experience offers a life-changing chance to track Africa's iconic animals on foot with a master of his craft. Renius is joined by Wild Earth presenter and expert storyteller Amy Krantz, and together they will connect you to Africa's wild heart. Join the Wild Earth YouTube superfan community and unlock a world of additional perks. Get exclusive early access or discounts to Wild Earth travel deals. Wear the best bush attire with merchandising discounts. Enjoy an interactive live monthly private safari. Don't miss out on the ultimate fan experience. Join the YouTube superfan community today. Step into the heart of Africa from the comfort of your home.
Female leopard tracks over here.
Join our expert guides for a live 3-hour safari where every moment is real, unscripted, and unforgettable. Ask questions,
Animals rely on their senses.
share your thoughts, and be part of the experience as we explore together. Safari Live.
Out here, every wild moment counts, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you will not miss out. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7, and you can even rewind if you have missed out on something. Enjoy the behind-the-scenes video clips, as well as fireside chat, or get the early offers on our travel experiences. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Nooks and crannies, little holes in the rocks like that. Perfect place for some snakes, little reptiles. Yeah, and in trees, when you have holes in trees, you also have bats. Bats like to live in hollow trees or holes in trees. Snakes as well. And if the tree is big enough, I've even seen little duiker nesting up in a hole in a tree. Again, it was quite a hole that was quite close to the ground. So yeah, you'd get all kinds of reptiles going and seeking refuge in these little holes. It's always worthwhile, you're on a walking safari, to have a torch with you, so you can shine up into these little cracks and crevices and holes in trees and logs. You never know what you might find. Ooh. I feel like any moment this crocodile might launch itself into the water. It's not too sure what this waterbuck is up to, but she's been quite a brave female waterbuck, isn't she? Canine Girl, thank you for joining us this afternoon, and yes, it is awesome to be able to share another live at the waterhole session with you. You've started a very entertaining day today. This Monday surely has brought a lot of entertainment with our hippo-crocodile interaction, now our waterbuck-crocodile interaction, waiting to see our penguin chick. So, yeah, what a lovely way to start off live at the Woodhole on a Monday. I've got a nice big waterbuck male also just lying in the grass. Again, winter is a perfect time for animals to have a bit of rest in the afternoon. Alright, so it sounds like I've just got an update from Nadine that we have got a nice big elephant bull who's just arrived at Oldonyo. So we'll keep an eye on our crocodile and waterbuck, but why don't we head across to Oldonyo and see what big male elephant has just arrived. Alrighty, so who do we have here? Is this 1 ton, folks? I know we've got a lot of viewers that are very much familiar on these elephants. It could be, I think it might actually be 1 ton. I know there is one big tusker with 1 tusk. Otherwise, I'm trying to... Oh, no. I think this elephant's name is Lobola, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure the viewers can correct me. I've got here... Lobola is an elephant that have 1 tusk. No, that's the 1 tusk elephant. So it could actually be 1 ton. The big, massive, famous elephant bull. Isn't this crazy? Yeah, any of our viewers, if you want to confirm the elephant for me. I know the elephant who's missing a tusk, his name is Lobola. But yeah. Wow, and doesn't look like he's going to be around for very long. Darkmane Lover, I think you are also correct there. It does look like that was the famous 1 ton elephant. He's never really around for very long, so yeah, lovely to see a super tusker here over in Kenya. He does have that very massive tusks. Imagine carrying around all of those tusks, those 2 very heavy tusks with you every day. It's incredible weight, and some of these largest super tuskers that are still left in Africa. Such a privilege to see some of them still roaming around. Where has he gone? Aren't those tusks incredible? So yeah, that was a very, very brief sighting of a super tusker 1 ton here in Kenya, but it was a very brief sighting, and most of my sightings of 1 ton have been like that, very, very quick sightings. He doesn't seem to hang around very long. So yeah, lovely to see him for the few minutes that we were able to see him for. So apparently the tusks of 1 ton elephants can weigh, this big elephant that was just with us, anything between around 100 kilograms each. So they've done an estimate on how heavy his tusks are. Apparently they're about 100 kilograms. What bird do we have here? Have a look, folks. Oh, it looked like it could have been a shaft-tailed wider. I don't know if any of our viewers had a better look at that wider. It could have been a little shaft-tailed wider. Oh, okay, what do we have here? I'm going to quickly get a photo of these guys. What do we have here? Oh, okay, this is a new bird for me. I don't know if we have any Kenyan birding experts that are watching. I have no idea what this bird is. So there's a similar bird, also looks like a shaft tail, has a shaft tail just off to the left. Very dark blue color as well. So if we have any birders out there that can help me with an ID on this very interesting bird. Looks like it's probably a male that is in breeding season. These beautiful long plumes. Trying to listen if there's any calls, any vocalizations which could help us to identify this bird. Where have they gone to? Okay, so I'm having a look, and it looks like it could be a male straw-tailed wider. So yeah, pretty cool sighting. That's definitely a new one for me. I mean, I know the pin-tailed wider and the shaft-tailed wider, but this is a very new bird for me, so very exciting to see this male straw-tailed wider. It's incredible how you get such special different bird species in different regions. What a cool little bird. So amazing how these birds grow their feathers during breeding plumage. The rest of the year they're completely unrecognizable. So they kind of grow these beautiful plumes and feathers to attract the females. Alright, so we've got some comments coming through. So Catherine has confirmed that this is the straw-tailed wider. Thanks for your comment, Catherine. Very exciting. I hope this is a bird lifer for some of you. This is definitely a bird lifer for me. I've never seen the straw-tailed wider before, so very exciting to get a new bird there. Trying to have a look, maybe there's some females around that he was following. So Canine Girl is also confirming this is a new bird for her. So a new bird lifer. Oh, so apparently Nadine's just said that the widers do love this tree. I'm quite interested that there was one of the straw-tailed widers that looked like a very dark blue color, almost a starling color. Maybe he was also in his transient phase. So when these birds are in their transient phase between their breeding plumage and non-breeding plumage, they can be quite difficult to identify sometimes. But yeah, very exciting to get a bird lifer today. Shucks, lots happening live at the waterhole today. Lots of exciting sightings at our different locations. Maybe if we're lucky, those straw-tailed widers have come down to the watering hole for a drink. Alright, let's see what birds we have down here. Looks like we could have a laughing dove here, also coming down for an afternoon drink. Midday drink at the watering hole. Nice that there's not too much activity, otherwise the birds kind of take. Oh, hang on, let's have a look here. I think this is a laughing dove, unless they have a different species of laughing dove over in Kenya. I might be mistaken. Some of these Kenyan birds are still quite new to me. But very exciting to have that straw-tailed wider. Maybe they'll come back. Fingers crossed. Lots of butterflies around. Lovely to see all these butterflies out and about. So I'm having a look for this dove. I think it's just a laughing dove, but I saw a little bit of white on its head, and apparently you do get some doves that can have slightly different color morphs, a lot more white. I think I have seen a white dove before. That can be a cause of inbreeding or some sort of pigment deficiency. But yeah, what an exciting day. Keep our eyes open for those widers. Again, the female widers are, as with most wider species, just very dull, very brown, and mostly identified with the males that they hang out with. So, yeah. Yeah, very lucky that we got a very brief sighting of one ton today. Yeah, he doesn't show himself very often. I think I've only seen him a handful of times. So, yeah, I think he knew we were watching him though, and he very quickly decided to disappear. So, Leopard Lover has sent through quite an interesting question about crocodiles. So Leopard Lover asked if crocodiles allogroom and what parasites can be found on them. So Leopard Lover, got another wider there. Alright, so yeah, this is the other shaft, was it the straw-tailed wider I was looking for, but he seems to just be in his transient phase, so he hasn't quite finished shooting out the rest of his tail feathers, and obviously his color's still changing. So yeah, but very cool to have a very awesome new bird lifer. If we've got any viewers that haven't seen the straw-tailed wider, we have managed to locate him here. What a lovely day. So those crocodiles do not allogroom with each other, Leopard Lover. but they can have parasites sometimes in their mouths, or caught up in their teeth. From time to time I have seen ticks, little ticks on the ear openings of the crocodile, but what happens is when they're on the water's edge, you'll get the plovers. Sometimes they might allow the little three-banded plovers. I've seen little three-banded plovers picking away at pluck caught up in crocodile's teeth, or also picking little parasites. But because crocodile have such thick skin, and those very thick scutes that help to protect them from predators, and one of the adaptations that has helped them to survive over so many years, they don't receive too many parasites that cause too much of a problem, like with soft skin game like impala and kudu or buffalo. So Lady Macbeth, yes, it is quite scary that one ton has such massive tusks. This is a really lovely sighting of this straw-tailed wider. Isn't he beautiful?
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
Out here, every moment counts. As a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7 and rewind if you want to catch something again. Enjoy behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and early access to travel offers. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
I'm guessing the crocodile might move or launch into the water and probably give this poor waterbuck a heart attack. Not really, but yeah, just give her a very big fright and she'll probably jump off to the side. But she's really testing her limits here. Penelope Kenyon, thank you for joining us this afternoon. I hope you had a lovely morning of teaching. You have not missed out on too much, but we have had quite an exciting day. Lots of crocodile activity. Crocodile and a baby hippo at the beginning of the show. This very unusual female waterbuck that I don't know, she must have eaten some very strange plants this morning. She's quite brave with this crocodile. We saw one ton over in Oldonyo, and we were waiting to see our little penguin chicks over in Stony Point. So I think there's some blesbok and some giraffe over in Founders. So while we're on a roll, should we head over to Founders Lodge over in South Africa, see what we can find? Right, so it looks like a very very windy day over in Founders Lodge in the Eastern Cape. So I'm just getting some updates from Catherine about our other wider that we saw. I thought I did see 2 different species of wider while we were over in Old Donyo, and apparently, yeah, it had a very long, it was blue, so it could have been the steel blue wider. So thank you very much for that info, Catherine. Definitely looks like the steel blue wider. I didn't know if it was a shaft tail wider in a transient phase. So it could have been 2 different wider species actually competing for territories, even though interspecies competition is quite unusual. But thank you for that update there, Catherine. And we also had Ed commented about the blue wider. So thank you so much, Catherine and Ed, for your confirmation on another wider species that we saw over in Old Donyo. How exciting! 2 wider species birding lifers over in Old Donyo. So yeah, if you don't have the steel blue wider and you got a quick glance of it, yeah, you can add another bird to your live at the waterhole list. So it looks like a nice cold windy afternoon. We have a female giraffe here in Founders Lodge in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. Maybe if we're lucky, a rhino might come down, or a warthog. I know this is a very good wallowing spot for the rhinos and warthogs, although it's a bit of a chilly afternoon, so I don't know if too many animals are going to be rushing down to the watering hole for a mud wallow. Open, amazing. Giraffe all of a sudden disappeared in these thick bushes. Oh, and we have a springbok over here. Nice to see some new species. He looks like he's got a little bit of a limp there. Could have been almost attacked by a predator or injured it somehow, maybe fighting. What else do we have out there today? I don't think I would like to be in the Eastern Cape today, I must say. It's chilly enough as it is in Gauteng province. I think Eastern Cape would be rather cold during this time of the year. Off our female giraffe goes. Do love those white patches on the back of the giraffe's ears. Helps them to locate each other from far distances. They can see that bright white patches from quite some distance. Well, why don't we try to get some more of our species at our different locations? I think we've got some buffalo activity over in the Simbavati. So why don't we go check what's happening with our buffalo? Well, it looks like it's a pretty warm day over in the Simbavati. This buffalo bull is enjoying a nice afternoon in a mud wallow, a little pan. Looks like he is ruminating. So buffalo are ruminants. They do have a chambered stomach, so they do regurgitate their food and re-chew their food in order to get as much nutrients as they possibly can. So he'll be an old Dugger boy or old buffalo bull on his own. Still looks like he's in pretty good condition. These buffalo are very tough and resilient creatures. They're also known as Black Death. You do not want to bump into a bachelor buffalo bull on his own on a grumpy day. They don't have They don't have much kindness. Not all of them are very kind. Yeah, they can be quite grumpy, these old boys, but shame. You can't really blame them. They spend a lot of time, once they're kicked out of the breeding herd, they can be alone for a lot of their time, and yeah, I guess just like any grumpy old boys, they spend maybe way too much time alone. You on a walking safari, bump into one of these old boys, it's not always a happy ending. So yeah, you have to be very, very careful when on walking safaris, and also listen to your guide and just do exactly what they say, because if you walk into one of these guys, again, if he's in the water like this and you can sneak up on him and you see him before he sees you, you can have a really great game viewing experience. But often you bump them, and I don't know who gets more of a fright, the buffalo or you do, and their first reaction is to come straight for you. They have to protect themselves from any danger. So it looks like we've got a lot of our viewers that this steel blue wider and straw-tailed wider are bird lifers. So thank you to Catherine and Ed for helping on the identification of those widers, and congratulations for a new bird lifer. And yeah, hope we can add many more lifers to come. So Mindy, happy birthday, Mindy. I believe we have one of our viewers that has a birthday today, so congratulations. I hope that you are happy to see a giraffe on your birthday today. Definitely has been quite an entertaining show, so I hope that you're enjoying Live at the Waterhole with us today on your very special birthday. He's also got an oxpecker giving him a bit of a hard time in his ear there, this buffalo. Let's see, how many oxpeckers can we see there? He's definitely in really good condition. Look at those horns. Some old buffalo bulls, by the time they are in their last couple of years, their horns are sometimes broken and ears very tattered, looking quite thin, lots of injuries. So he's still in his prime, this boy. He still looks like he's in great shape. We have a question from Wildlife Lovers asking about the lifespan of a giraffe. So generally, giraffe can live in the wild between 20 to 25 years of age. Obviously, a lot of animals can live a bit longer in captivity, except for elephants. For some reason, elephants don't seem to enjoy being in captivity and don't live as long. But in captivity, I think some of the record lifespans of giraffe have been between 28 and 30 years old. So, yeah, just a bit of information on the lifespan of a giraffe. So buffalo do generally live in herds. Obviously this is a solitary buffalo bull, but herd sizes of buffalo can be anything between 100 to over 1,000 individuals. And generally the herds, if you bump into a herd of buffalo, they're mostly harmless, unless you catch some of the big bulls at the back. Generally when moving buffalo herds, the bulls will be at the back. The larger the herd, the more bulls can be in a herd. So if you have 50 to 60 individuals, you might have 3 or 4 buffalo bulls within that herd, and the bigger the herd gets, the more bulls you will have, which those bulls will also have a bit of a hierarchical structure amongst themselves. So the females do form a very tight maternal bonds with their calves, and the bachelor herds, whether it's a bachelor herd or the bulls within a herd, will have their own hierarchical chain within that group. He's really enjoying his Monday afternoon, just chilling, relaxing in this nice cool spot. Must be very relaxing or relaxed in this area, because it's quite close to the bank. If there were some lions around or wild dogs, they could take him by surprise. Might be in a bit of a compromising position. And compared to a lot of other antelope, buffalo are known to have incredible memories. They can remember different areas that might have had threats in them, or areas where there might be hunters or poachers or lions. So this memory, this incredible memory that these buffalo have, does help them to avoid dangerous areas, and also helps them to not return to watering holes that might have a threat or pose a threat to them. Check at them chewing away. So Spasienkow, yes, I've actually seen quite a few old buffalo bulls with broken horns, but the oldest and probably most tatty buffalo bull I saw, shame he was not in very good condition, was a forest buffalo. Both of his horns were broken, so he just had little stumps on the side of his head. Oh, he must have been very old. His ears were all very tatty, and the oxpeckers were pecking at his ears, and there was blood coming out of his ears. He came out of the forest into this very beautiful open saline, or a bai, this beautiful open area that he was just wanting to come and get a fresh drink of water. And as soon as he came out into this open area, two younger, more younger individuals, and a lot very strong individual buffalo bulls then chased him back into the forest. And this poor old boy, he didn't even have a tail. His tail was gone, and you could see he'd had a very long life. And because he wasn't as dominant, these two other dominant bulls came in and just chased him back into the forest, and you just heard him sludging his way through the forest trying to get away. So again, these prime drinking spots, prime breeding spots will be guarded and very much taken care of by these prime buffalo bulls. And if any other bulls come into the area, they could form a bachelor herd. Otherwise, if this bull is not too keen on having friends, he'll also chase the other bachelor bulls away. So yeah, very much part of the hierarchical social structure. They need to maintain that hierarchy. So buffalo are a very important role in the ecosystem. So they do graze a lot of areas, so they often open up grasslands and keep wooded plants from growing, and it does benefit other herbivores like zebra and wildebeest. So when you take buffalo out of an area, they does have quite a negative effect on other species. I've seen dams and watering holes that haven't had buffalo visiting these areas, and they can become very thick and overgrown. So the hooves of buffalo moving through an area are also very important. One, aerating the soil. They're almost like natural, plows of the natural world. So their feet, their hooves open up the soil, and then their dung helps to introduce nitrogens, nitrates, and manure, and it helps grass to grow. So very important part of the ecosystem. Is there anything else out there? Any more buffalo? Sometimes you get these buffalo bulls that might be with the herd, just left behind.
Join me, Andrew Wistenholm, for an indescribable 6-night stay in the beautiful Albany of the Eastern Cape at Amakhala Game Reserve. Now this trip is going to be action-packed with a lot of storytelling, adventure, as well as the opportunity to make everlasting memories. We'll be exploring the best of Amakhala by staying at 2 luxury lodges, which will be the perfect blend of comfort as well as wilderness. Book your spot today and let's get ready to explore the wild beauty of Amakhala.
South Africa's wild places are closer than you think, because Federal Airlines brings them to you. From the calm of our FedAir lounge to the smooth boarding of our trusted fleet, we take care of the journey so you can enjoy the adventure. Our flights go beyond the ordinary, connecting you to South Africa's most remote and extraordinary locations. Federal Airlines, your gateway to the South African wild.
My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. I grew up mostly here in the Lowveld. I grew up here pretty much on the southern side of Kruger National Park, a place called Marlow Park, for most of my years. Something surprising about myself, I did play drums in a band for many years. Best sighting I presented, we found Palumba and the 2 cubs, and the cubs are just way big.
Can you hear that? The wild is calling.
So they don't get caught in the forest. So very much adapted for a forested environment. Martini, this buffalo sure is living his best life. He's just having a great time. There's a blacksmith lapwing behind him there, also looking for his afternoon lunch, maybe hoping the buffalo will disturb some insects. But yeah, what a lovely way to spend a Monday afternoon. I don't think he'll move too much. He'll probably hang out there for the rest of the day. You can see he's being bothered by some flies. Lots of flies bothering him there. Swishing his ears. Now, often when these buffalo are lying in the water like this, I've seen quite a few good pictures in the last couple of years of buffalo. They'll have terrapins. So terrapins will actually come and sometimes remove ticks or feed on ticks on the buffalo's bellies, and the buffalo must hope that they don't have any open lesions or wounds, because terrapins can also be a bit parasitic. They are carnivorous, a reptile, so they will feed on buffalo flesh if they do get a chance. Check out that boss, so that very hard part of his horns that comes and meets at the base of his head there, that's known as the boss. And the bigger that boss is for male buffalo, the more dominant and the better his genes are. I actually learned recently about the like bison and all those bigger some of those bigger mammals in North America that, while fighting, they're actually same as buffalo. When fighting, they'll use that boss and ram into each other. So some of these collisions that they have with other males can be almost like a bit of a small car accident. So it's sometimes, in some species, that massive boss does help to protect their brain, like in the musk oxes. Actually, that's the name I was looking for. So musk ox, very long, fluffy, shabby, buffalo looking creature. They don't have very long horns, but they have this massive boss in the center of their head there that apparently has got a bit of an air bubble inside that helps to protect their brain, because when those musk oxes come running at each other and whack into each other's heads, it's almost the same impact as a small car accident. So they need to have that massive boss, massive air bubble, in order to protect their brains from that massive collision. Same as buffalo, they'll fight with each other using their horns as well as that boss. It's like a thick helmet base of the horns, which helps to protect their heads. So only the males will develop this thick boss. The females, generally, their bosses don't even meet in the center, and they'll be a lot smaller than that of the males. So having a look at some comments here from Deb Davis. So Deb Davis, yes, I believe you have seen the American bison at Yellowstone National Park. I'm very jealous of you, Deb Davis. That is one of the national parks I would love to go and visit, Yellowstone. Not just to see the bison, but also to see those giant redwoods. Those massive trees, beautiful forests. And of course the bison. So I believe the bison population has recovered. I know at one stage the population of bison were declining, but I believe the populations are stable now. So to give you an idea of the weight, a bison is a lot bigger than a buffalo. So we mentioned record weight size of a buffalo in southern Africa, which was a trophy bull, disease-free buffalo in South Africa. He weighed about 800 kilograms. Your bison, big males, are weighing between 900 to just over 1,000 kilograms, or 2,000 to just over 2,000 pounds. So that's a massive mass of body weight to be throwing around, especially those big bulls while fighting with each other. So the shoulder height, a male bison is also a bit bigger than a buffalo. Male bison, you're looking at about 1.8 meters or 6 feet. So yeah, very agile, despite their bulky appearance. Are also surprisingly fast. Those male bison can run about 50 to 55 kilometers an hour. Alright, so we're just having an update from our locations. We have only got our little penguin family that are being a bit elusive. So why don't we head back to our penguins over in Stony Point and see if we can get some penguin activity there. We've still got our adult penguin. Could be the male or female. I'm not quite well versed on identifying the different sexes of male and females, but it could be the male that is sitting on the nest here. It looks like he's repositioned quite a bit, so he was quite upright earlier, and we were seeing a little bit of fluff, a bit of movement underneath his bottom. Could have been a little fluffy penguin chick, so we are hoping that maybe there might be some movement. Maybe we'll see a chick poking its head out here and there. So Wildlife Lover was just asking a question about our buffalo. So yes, Wildlife Lover, we were watching our buffalo ruminate. So they are ruminants. They do have a rumination system which their food has to go through before being fully digested. So they have a 4-chambered stomach, and their food can be regurgitated and refed on in order to digest as much of that food and get all the nutrients available. So especially in the dry season, this is something that is very useful for these animals that are ruminants, just like kudu, so that they can get as much nutrients out of their food as possible in the dry season when there is not much food around. I've actually, at Djuma in quarantine, we were watching a kudu standing on top of a termite mound last year, January, and she was regurgitating some marullas. You could actually see the marullas coming up and going down her throat. Yeah, it was quite interesting to watch. Alright, well, it doesn't look like our penguin is being very cooperative today, so why don't we head across to Nkoro and see what animal has come down for a pool party. Nice big elephant bull that has come down to this very small watering hole here in Nkoro. Looks like he's come to give himself a bit of a splish and a splash, have a bit of a pool party, cool himself down. Maybe the sunshine was becoming a bit too much on his skin on the sunny afternoon. Sometimes I really do feel like the animals know when they're live on the screen, because they often disappear very quickly as soon as we head over to them. Just like when we're on the live drives and you've just found like an epic sighting, and the minute the animals hear that live, and then it disappears, and you're sitting there like, oh, we had an owl, or oh, we had wild dogs 2 seconds ago, and then whoops, they're gone. Just like we had 1 ton earlier in El Doño, and I'm sure he knew we were watching him, because we just had a very brief sighting of him, just a few seconds, and off he went. You can see this elephant, he's balancing his trunk. He was balancing his trunk on his tusk there, so it can often be a sign when bulls are in musk. Learned recently that that's one of their indecisive signs. So when an elephant bull's in musk, and when he's deciding whether he wants to trample over you or just pass by and let you have a pleasant day, they'll sometimes have these kind of signs that body language that you can read. Like they often lift up their foot, and they might wave their one foot around, pick up some frequencies from the ground, maybe some form of communication. But also they will often rest their trunks on their tusks. They're just thinking and contemplating life a little bit. They'll also kind of play with things. Sometimes they might pretend to, this is young bulls that are in musk, and you must always be careful, because sometimes they'll pretend to eat, so you kind of put your guard down a little bit, and next thing they turn around and they're half on top of you. So you need to watch for all these little signs and signals. I saw an elephant bull. My dad's currently on safari in Botswana, and I saw he had a very close sighting with elephant bull yesterday, and also very unusual behavior. The elephant was playing with sand right next to the car, so again he was trying to distract them so that they wouldn't be too alarmed by his presence there. But also he was kind of, while he contemplated life, he was just playing in the sand, blowing into the sand, playing around. So important to read the body language of these wild animals. Helps you understand them better. Oh, there's some warthogs. Have a look. Just behind the elephant here is a little warthog. Could be a female warthog. Still a bit of grass around here in Nkoro in the Sabi Sands, starting to dry out now, and as the grass dries from the rainy season, elephants will be then more prone to feeding on leaves, lots of leaves, and then as the dry season arrives and all the leaves of the tree falls off, then they'll also be forced to feed on a lot of bark. So elephants, it's not ideal for them to feed on hard food like bark and branches, because it does wear their teeth down quite quickly. And same with these warthogs. During the green season, the warthogs barely have to get onto their haunches to feed. The warthogs will often feed on the grass seeds, but then as the food starts to become more and more sparse, then they really have to get in there with their snouts and start digging up roots and feeding on those roots when all the grasses run out. Two little warthog bottoms. Still looks like there's quite good grass cover, so lovely to see nice cover of grass. So this grass will be fed on, even though it does look quite dry. It will be fed on by herbivores. It does look like it's a sweet veld area, so low-lying area with some nice sweet veld nutritious grass. Whereas your bulk grazers like buffalo, they'll also feed on sour veld grass, or bulk feed on grass that might not be so nutritious, like your giant's crowfoot or panicum maximum. It does help to give them some roughage in their diet, although it's not always as nutritious as a sweet veld grass. Lovely little warthog family. They've probably also come from the watering hole, had a bit of a wallow. So probably a female with her youngsters, and that are probably already almost a year old now. They looked quite big, and this is a big male that has joined them. I have a question from Karen. Good evening, Karen. Thank you for joining us, and thanks for your question. So Karen is asking, what was that? Very strange sound. Maybe something's at the watering hole. Maybe it's an impala rutting. Oh, yep. There's a male impala right by the camera here. He just disappeared. We have a listen. Maybe we'll still hear him rutting. Some wildebeest in the distance there. Oh, there we go. So it is rutting season for the impalas at the moment. So that very strange guttural grunting sound that we heard is coming from one of these male impala. They have very elevated levels of testosterone at the moment, and if you happen to be privileged enough to go camping during the seasons of May, between May to early June, you might wake up in the middle of the night to this terrible sound of these impala. And yeah, if you didn't know it was impala, you'd think it was a very angry leopard or something like that. So yeah, these impala will be chasing each other around, as well as chasing all the females around, trying to regain more access to more females and regain different territories. So yeah, quite cool to get a very brief sound of the male impalas rutting.
Join Wild Earth Travel on a unique nature adventure in the Greater Kruger Park. Legendary master tracker Renius Mhlongo leads a 4-day animal tracking experience in the Sabi Sand Nature Reserve. This experience offers a life-changing chance to track Africa's iconic animals on foot with a master of his craft. Renius is joined by Wild Earth presenter and expert storyteller Amy Krantz, and together they will connect you to Africa's wild heart. The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight. We'll be
And you pretend like you're a serviceman, eh?
Got no idea what's going on this reserve.
Expecting the unexpected.
Are we stuck down there?
What am I trying to do?
So we have another giant of Mabula.
That was incredible. This is unbelievable.
It's going to be a spectacular afternoon.
We are here with a male leopard.
Very few cases where a snake has bitten an elephant and they've actually had a reaction to it, because remember, snakes have elephants have very thick skin. In some areas their skin is up to 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch, so just around about an inch thick, and that does prevent the snake's teeth from actually penetrating their skin. So that's quite a big hindrance in the beginning from a snake trying to bite an elephant. And also, an elephant is such a big predator. Snakes don't necessarily always want to waste their venom. Even on us humans, every drop of venom that a snake has to produce takes a lot of energy from their bodies, and they don't always necessarily want to actually bite us. So sometimes you'll get dry bites even when animals get bitten. They might have run out of venom or don't want to utilize all their venom. Remember, that's a defense mechanism for them. But the rare times when elephants have been bitten by snakes, elephants will normally also avoid snakes as well. They have had mild reactions, but elephants definitely are not as susceptible to having terrible reactions or the venom completely affecting them as, for example, in humans, primates, or thin-skinned antelope. So yeah, so for example, if a snake did get bitten on its trunk, that would cause quite an issue, because there's lots of blood vessels and nerve endings in the trunk of an elephant, so it could cause a lot of swelling, pain, and also partial paralysis, which for an elephant could be detrimental because it would hinder their ability to feed and drink as well as communicate. So yeah, but again, these cases are very rare. Elephants do avoid snakes, and snakes will definitely avoid getting in the way of an elephant. So Spas Inkov is sent through a question. So Spas, no, I have not been to Nkoro and the Sabi Sands. I have been close to Nkoro Bush Lodge, but never actually been to this exact location. So yeah, if any of our viewers have been to Nkoro Bush Lodge, I'd love to know what your experience was there, maybe some of your favorite sightings. So please feel free to send through any of your comments. Maybe you had a special or memorable moment, memorable sighting. This pan, let me think of some cool moments at this pan. I know there's a hippo that sometimes comes and resides in this pan here, which is quite unusual because it's quite a shallow pan. So shame that hippo that came through didn't look like it was in great condition. Maybe an old hippo bull that was moving from one area to the next, but then he decided to hang out in this pan for quite a period. So yeah, we've had some great hippo sightings here. Buffalo herds often come through these nice open grassland areas. Often get wildebeest, zebra, baboons. I've had quite interesting baboon interactions at this watering hole. So yeah, it looks like a very nice open area just in front of Nkoro Bush Lodge. Perfect for game viewing, bird watching. Yeah, lots of activity during the day when you're in between your safaris. Alright folks, we've got some activity over in Jabulani, so let's go and have a look, see what's happening there. I do apologize if there's any picture breakup, but yeah, it might be a pretty cool sighting. Let's go have a look at Jabulani. Alright, so have a look here folks. We've got two hyenas here at Jabulani Safari Lodge over in Hoedspruit, and if you see in the far distance at the top left of the screen, there's also a buffalo just lying down there. But if there's a bit of picture breakup, we might link across, so we'll just have to enjoy the sighting as much as we can. Is it one hyena or two hyenas? Pretty cool to see a hyena during the day. The buffalo seems very relaxed while watching this hyena that just came down for a little bit of a splash. What a cool sighting. Okay, so there was two hyenas that came down. Maybe just a nice bit of an afternoon drink. They did look like they were in great condition. Didn't seem to bother this buffalo too much. I'm trying to have a look, see if it was if we're sitting in a hide, just grab your binoculars and have a look. I'm pretending to have a look with my binoculars right now, and it does look like it is a male buffalo lying on the other side of the bank there, in full, almost in half starfish mode. So alright folks, sorry, our feed is a little bit unstable here, so let's head over to Founders Lodge and have a look at what's come down to the watering hole. Oh, check at this. Isn't this a cool sighting? So we're here at Founders Lodge over in Eastern Cape. We were here earlier for some... Oh, check at this. How cute. Little Bubba scratching himself on Mummy's tusks. So we were here earlier, and we had some giraffe and a springbok. Oh, definitely very close family bonds amongst these warthogs. So these babies were probably born between December and January. So looking at about 4 months old already, and they'll stay quite close to their mother for their first year, but generally after the next litter of little piglets arrive, then they'll head off on their own. So they'll stay with their mum for about a year. Sometimes the females will even not leave the prenatal family group. The males will go off on their own, but the little females will sometimes stay together, and you get mother, female, and then they'll have their little babies at the same season. So kind of also December, January, and always more protection in bigger groups, bigger family groups.
Join Wild Earth Travel on a unique nature adventure in the Greater Kruger Park. Legendary master tracker Renius Mhlongo leads a 4-day animal tracking experience in the Sabi Sand Nature Reserve. This experience offers a life-changing chance to track Africa's iconic animals on foot with a master of his craft. Renius is joined by Wild Earth presenter and expert storyteller Amy Krantz, and together they will connect you to Africa's wild heart. Wild Earth has launched a special fundraising drive for our non-profit, the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. We're raising funds to source, create, and showcase thousands of untold stories. Stories that spark real action in conservation and social impact. Visit our website to donate and explore how you can become a founding donor.
My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. The best driver at Wild Earth, it is me. I believe I'm the best driver. I think so, because I've... best part of my job, I say, is just to try and look out for these animals, track them down. I love tracking animals. I love looking for, fresh tracks, and if you can find them, it's just at the moment of accomplishment. If I wasn't a presenter for Wild Earth, I would be the drummer for AC/DC.
On safari, whether you're with a guide, without a guide, maybe you've just decided to pop down to the river for an afternoon fishing session, please make sure you keep a very close eye out for crocodiles on the bank, but you never know if you're going to bump into a pod of hippos lying on the bank. Because have a look at these hippos. They are blending in so well. They look like they could just be crocs or logs on the edge of the water. Imagine if you've come down with your fishing rod. So again, that's why a lot of these lodges do have rules, and they do ask people not to wander around, but you do get the naughty guest here and there. I've definitely had a few that decide to wander off, and I'll just walk down to the river there, go fishing, even if it's not prohibited, or I'm just going to go take a picture of the log. Watch out you don't bump into a sleeping pod of hippos on the water's edge, or even worse, get in between the hippos and the water. because it's the worst place to be when it comes to hippos. So you never want to sleep on a hippo path. If you're camping out in the bush, make sure you don't sleep on a hippo path, because if you get in between hippos and the water, you're going to have a very interesting end to your day, should we say. So these hippos can weigh about 1,500 to 1,800 kilograms, or around 4,000 pounds, and that's a big male. So this does make them the third largest mammal on the planet, or in Africa, should we say, after elephants and rhinos. I know they don't look very dangerous right now, but yeah, you need to be very cautious and wary of hippos. Big male hippo, especially if injured, or a female hippo with a calf, can be your worst nightmare. Yes, Nadine, especially if they're babies. I know they don't look like they're dangerous, and tiny little baby hippo, nothing cuter than a tiny little baby hippo. But I tell you, so what happens is normally the female hippo, she'll separate herself from the pod, or also known as a harem, for a few days when she's just had a baby. Sometimes it can be up to 10 days to a week she'll be away from the pod. And I've done a lot of canoeing safaris in Africa, in West Africa, as well as on the Zambezi. And I tell you, the worst, I don't know if it's worse to bump into a male hippo or a female with a baby, but those definitely two of the most dangerous things to bump into on the river. Because a female hippo with a little baby, she is very, very protective of her little one. So Deb Davis, yes, I will hopefully be seeing you on safari soon. Looking forward to, joining on another Wild Earth adventure. Yes, Dark Mane Lover, I do agree with you there. You see how easily these hippos can be mistaken for rocks. So I know there's a lot of protocols for camps, and obviously in Europe and in the US there's a very big line between wildlife and people, and you're not allowed out your vehicles. But in Zimbabwe there's a lot of places where you can go, and farms, or a lot of private reserves where, you know, if you have friends, you can go walking down to the river, or even on some reserves in South Africa, you might have reserves where hippos can come into the campsites, or actually into the camp. I think I saw a video the other day in Kenya. There was a very murky swimming pool in Kenya that had a hippo climbing out of the pool. Of course, there was people scattered, swimming costumes, towels scattered all over the place, and people running away as this hippo just decided to creep out of the swimming pool. So imagine how long that hippo had been in that swimming pool without anyone noticing. Again, it wasn't the cleanest swimming pool I've ever seen. So yeah, hippos, as long as you're close to water, hippos can travel quite a distance, and they do really love to chomp on the nice green grass in lodges. They do really enjoy eating grass in camps. So often hippos will come into camps at night, or if you're staying at a camp that's close to the water, I've often bumped into a hippo on the way to my room. So yeah, be very cautious and very wary of these creatures. They're lovely to watch from a distance and when they're happy, but if you get into their personal space, the situation can change quite quickly. Penelope Kenyon, yes, this is amazing watching these hippos. Seems like our female with the baby hippos maybe disappeared into the water, because I think we've probably got one big male on the left, the darker individual, and then, or at the top of the ridge, and then a big female with her two sub-adults. So see the different pigment and different coloration in these hippo skin compared to each other. Often have very light colored bellies or pink bellies, and they actually create their own sunscreen. So it's called hypodermic acid or hippo sweat, and they excrete this very pinkish orange liquid that actually acts as a natural sunscreen and insect repellent to protect their skin, as well as an antiseptic. How cool is that? And we have to spray ourselves with all these chemicals in order to deter insects and clean our skin and find antiseptic creams, whereas hippos produce their own natural antiseptic insect repellent as well as sun cream. Very cool. So Canine Girl, sounds like Canine Girl knows this riverbank too well. Apparently you've walked down this riverbank on patrol. That's pretty crazy, Canine Girl. I'd love to know some of your adventures and what has taken you to the bush. Sounds like you've also had quite a lot of bush experience. So yeah, I'd love to hear what kind of work you've been doing, Canine Girl. Cat Fan has also sent through a comment. It is quite unusual for hippos to be out of the water, Cat Fan, during the day. But as I mentioned, Cat Fan, our temperatures have been dropping quite a bit in South Africa. We've had a lot of late rains. I think this winter is going to be a very cold winter. So it's actually not rare to see hippos out of the water during winter. So on winter's days, the sun isn't as strong. There's normally a nice cool breeze. And that's when you will find hippos out of the water quite regularly during the winter seasons. So Deb Davis has asked a question about hippos, baby hippos suckling. And yes, Deb Davis, we mentioned earlier about how baby hippos can suckle under the water for up to 6 to 7 minutes. I know the average time a hippo can be underwater is about 8 minutes as well. So it seems like we've had some penguin movement, folks. The hippos don't seem to be doing too much. So why don't we head back across to Stony Point and see if we can spot a little baby penguin chick. Our penguin parent is not being very cooperative today, is she? So it's quite cool. If you have a look, obviously in this dark area, it's quite difficult to see this penguin, but you can see there's these white, pink patches of skin just across this penguin's face there, and those patches are actually used to thermoregulate their temperature. Oop, a bit of activity, a bit of movement. Are we going to see one? I think there were 2 chicks, if I'm not mistaken, that hatched, so praying that we get a visual of one of these little penguin chicks. Mercedes Bean, thank you for your comment there. Apparently you need to stock up on some insect spray before the insect season starts, all those mosquitoes. Yeah, I know there's so much insect spray out there, but just a reminder, folks, it's some of these sprays, especially with the DEET, can be very bad for the environment. So some natural stuff that I like to use, citronella, is very good for deterring any sort of bugs, insects, and even flies. We use citronella quite a lot with the horses. Very good to spray citronella, a citronella mix. So don't spray it direct citronella, you need to mix it with something. So my natural insect repellent mixture is normally citronella mixed with a little bit of Dettol, some baby oil, and then just mix a little bit of water in there as well. Makes a very good natural insect repellent that's good for the, not too bad for the environment. Oh, look, we've got some little movement, got some little penguin activity. I'm dying to see some more of these little penguins. I'm hoping maybe this adult might move off the nest just now, or maybe move a little bit so that we can get a better view, but it seems like a little bit of activity there. So yeah, if you're looking for a natural insect repellent, that is, I swear by the stuff. I mean, yes, you do have to spray it on a lot more often than you would spray DEET, but it is also safe to spray on your clothing too. So especially when I was in the Congo, in Southern Africa, I don't use insect repellent at all. I found very rare occasions I've actually needed it, but in West Africa there's all kinds of horseflies, sand flies, all kinds of creatures, mosquitoes just trying to eat you all the time. So I used to use this citronella Dettol mixture, and it's very effective. So yeah, also the Dettol helps to sterilize any itchy bites that might be have a chance of getting infected. So, come on, little baby penguins. What a lovely, quiet moment listening to the sound of those ocean waves in Cape Town and these two little rock dussies that this one was not too fond of the other one coming and taking his spot. You see how these rock dussies have specially modified fur? They definitely don't have to worry about about insects. They've got very thick fur, keeps them nice and warm. It also prevents them from being bitten by too many insects out there. Ticks are a bit of a problem with these hyraxes or rock dussies, so they do need to watch out for ticks, but generally not too influenced by small insects like mosquitoes. So there are 3 different hyrax species in Africa. So Spas Yankov and I were chatting the other day about the different hyrax species in Africa, and I didn't know that we do actually have tree hyrax in southern Africa. So the 3 different species are your rock hyrax, your bush hyrax, and of course there's 3 different subspecies of tree hyraxes. But the southern tree hyrax does occur in KwaZulu-Natal, which is quite interesting. I was not aware of that. And the 3 tree hyrax species, you get the eastern tree hyrax, southern tree hyrax, and the western tree hyrax, which I am very much familiar with from Congo. They make a very strange screaming sound at night, which will send a shrill through your spine. Oh, shame, this little hyrax looks a little bit cold. But these are the rock hyraxes or rock dussies that we are looking at here. So, Dark Mane Lover, you're welcome for my natural bug insect repellent recipe. Anything that's natural that can be used for me is always a great, better to use natural products rather than products that damage the environment as well as your skin. Because some of these insect repellents that we use can be very toxic to our skin. So if you are not fond of citronella, some other alternatives that you can use as an insect repellent are eucalyptus oil, lavender oil, tea tree oil, neem oil, and peppermint oil. So all of these products do have natural insecticides, can help to repel against mosquitoes and spiders as well as flies. So there's quite a lot of different essential oils that you can actually use to prevent insects from biting you. And a binding agent, if you don't like baby oil, you can also use coconut oil as well. Hello little guys. The little hyraxes are trying to absorb as much sunshine as they can before the cold night approaches. I must say, I don't think I'd like to be in Cape Town during the cold weather. That's why these hyraxes are specially adapted to living in these very cold regions with that very thick fur of theirs. Catherine, don't worry, I'll definitely be packing you a lot of insect repellent for the next Congo adventure. Natural stuff is always great. I've got another question from Karen. So Karen is asking, can dogs get mange, or is it just a problem in South Africa? So Karen, dogs, cats, wild animals, domestic, horses, goats, donkeys, cattle, I've seen lots of different animals with mange. It is a bit of a myopic parasite that does attach itself to the skin, and you do get an external skin mange and an internal skin mange. So some of this mange is just on the surface, but then you do get an internal parasites that can also cause animals to lose their fur and lose their skin as well. And again, a lot of natural chemicals, or a lot of natural essential oils can be used to cure these mange or parasites. Oh, have a look, what do we have here? So lots of kelp today washed up in this at Stony Point, and we have all our cormorants all hanging out on the rocks, giving themselves a nice sunny preen and a clean in the sunshine, probably having a bit of a break from the fishing endeavors from the morning. Dark Mane Lover, I agree with you there that those dussies are very cute. I do love those beady little eyes of theirs. Modified snouts, their little snouts, and those very sharp little incisors that they have specially adapted for their feeding. Cat fan, looks like you've also had some trouble with mosquitoes on your trip. Yeah, I do find specific mosquitoes and insects are attracted to certain blood types or specific people. What is it? I believe sugar. Someone once told me that if you have a very high sugar, if you consume a lot of sugar on a daily basis, that also attracts more insects like mosquitoes and flies. I cannot testify that it's 100% accurate, but I definitely cut down my sugar consumption from that day, and I'm not the first person to be bitten, so I will go with that. Again, this is You do get mange birds as well, so that's why these cormorants and darters, all birds in fact, need to make sure they keep their feathers very well cleaned, very well preened. Use that oil preening gland of theirs to coat their feathers, keep them in good condition, because there are lots of mites and little myopic parasites that can also attack birds' feathers. And if a bird's feathers are not in good condition, it really hinders their ability to fly. And once it starts on a few of their feathers, it does spread quite quickly. So yeah, very essential part of being able to fly. Alrighty folks, well, our penguins are not being too cooperative, so why don't we head back across to Tau and see if we can do some birding, maybe if our waterbuck and crocodile are still having a bit of a standoff. Oh, looks like we've got an African jacana, or a lily trotter. Looking for some food on those lily pads. I must say, I do love how the male African jacanas carry those little ones in his feathers, so when any form of danger or when threatened, the male African jacana, that is the sole carer and provider for the chicks, will crouch down, scoop up those little chicks into his wings and stand very still. It works very well when his chicks are small. I mean, he can have anything between 3 to 4 chicks on average, but as the chicks get bigger and bigger, it becomes a lot more difficult to hold them in his wings, and then you sometimes see a little foot popping out the bottom of his feathers there. Very difficult for him to keep them all concealed inside his wings. What is he up to there? Looks like he could be feeding. So these lily trotters or African jacanas, they do feed on tiny little beetles, flies, insects and larvae. From time to time, if they're able to find them, they'll feed on shrimp or small water fleas, mollusks, little snails and invertebrates, or little aquatic invertebrates that they might find in the reeds, water or vegetation. They'll also substitute their diet with some worms, seeds and plant material to fulfill their daily protein goals. And they do forage by walking on the lily pads and other floating plants, which gives them the ability to feed in areas that might be unreachable to some species. They have very long toes and claws that distribute their weight evenly over the lilies in order to prevent them from sinking. What other birds do we have out there? Looks like lots of water hyacinths. That's a lot of water hyacinths that's filling this watering hole here. Perfect environment for these lily trotters. Also black crake. There often is sometimes a few black crake wandering around here at the water's edge. You can also expect to see some Egyptian geese, which I'm surprised we're not seeing today. And at these trees, the branches just on the left-hand side, we sometimes have a residential brown-hooded kingfisher. Is it brown-hooded or striped? I think it's a brown-hooded kingfisher that often sits on those little branches.
He is such a handsome young male. Look at that pose. Absolutely beautiful.
I get to wake up every morning and go out there and look for cats. I get to create my everyday safari for myself. Myself, I grew up in the sort of central eastern suburbs of Johannesburg, fully qualified trails guide and a fully qualified nature conservationist. I love the wild places. I love being in the wilderness. It's probably one of the best jobs I've ever had and probably ever could have.
Hyenas love bathing.
Safari, wine, and waterfalls. The ultimate African adventure. Sip South Africa's finest wines. Experience a world-class safari among Africa's iconic wildlife. And stand in front of Victoria Falls, one of the natural wonders of the world. All this can be yours with Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
At the endangered centre in Hoedspruit. Alright, so yeah, apologies folks, we were not able to see Tammy, our female cheetah with the cubs. We'll keep an eye on that camera, but she seems to be not in view of the camera. But this is another individual. Her name is Becky. I did see her on the website. I think her camera is on the Africam website as well. She seems to be very relaxed this afternoon, a nice chilled afternoon. Her colour is a little bit different to the colour of Tammy. Obviously every single cheetah is unique and different. Got some information from one of our viewers that every individual cheetah can have over 2,000 different spots. So just like us humans have unique and different fingerprints, same with cheetah, they'll have very different and unique spots and patterns. Hello Becky. It's my first time seeing Becky. So these cheetah in the wild, they're generally very independent and solitary, unlike the males. So often males will form coalitions, whereas females will be solitary. And then I learnt in Mabula that also male cheetah have different hunting strategies than females. So obviously because the males are in a coalition, I think one of the biggest coalitions of male cheetah was in Tanzania. Could have been Tanzania. That was about 6 males altogether. So because males have a big number, bigger groups, males will hunt in open areas a lot more often. The majority of their hunts will be in open areas, whereas I wasn't aware that female cheetahs actually hunt in very thick areas compared to hunting in open areas. The majority of female cheetah hunts are in open areas compared to males that hunt females hunt in thick areas as opposed to male cheetah that hunt mostly in open areas. And BK and I learnt about this because of the time we spent with that female cheetah that was in Mabula. Every kill we found her on was always in a very thick, dense area. And just like wild dogs, cheetah have also adapted and become very accustomed to using camps and fences to their advantage. So often wild cheetah will chase an animal into a fence to throw the individual off, like its bearings off a little bit, and that gives it an advantage over its prey. So very calculating, very clever in their hunting strategy there. So female cheetah are really good moms. A female cheetah, generally they give birth between 2 to 6 cubs after a gestation of 3 months. And yeah, there's a record. Is it the St. Louis Zoo in the US? Let's head over to the penguins, Jake. Oh. So I think the penguins are maybe visible. So let's see if we can see those little baby penguins. We've been dying to see these penguins for days. I think since they've probably about just over 10 weeks. 10 days they've hatched, and every time we come over to them, they just keep. Oh yeah. Alrighty folks, well it's been a lovely day. Hopefully we get some more penguin activity. Thank you for your comments, Canine Girl. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Darkmane Lover, it's been a fantastic show. Yes, this penguin does know live too well, and they hide their chicks as soon as we come over. Penelope Kenyon, thank you also for joining us. Wildlife Lady, thank you for your comments, folks. It's been a lovely and very eventful day here today, live at the Waterhole. So really appreciate all those questions, all those comments, all the chitter-chatter, sharing of information, sharing of knowledge, always very special. I'm praying that this little penguin, female penguin, will show us her babies. If we're lucky enough, I will patiently wait. Otherwise, I will be seeing you tomorrow, same time, same place, here live at the Waterhole for the rest of the week, which I'm really excited about. And maybe if we're lucky, we'll see Tammy and her little cubs tomorrow. So from me and the rest of the Wild Earth team, we just want to say a big thank you for watching us today. Don't forget to tune in to the live safari coming up next. From me, that'll be all, folks. Have a lovely evening and happy Monday.